Okay, so you clicked on this video wanting to know more on how God can make you successful. God works through us in multitudes of ways, and sometimes we don't even recognize it. So, in this video, I'm going to cover how I have allowed God to impact and change the course of my life. I was working at a water park as a lifeguard, and on one of my 30-minute breaks, so basically I would work on for an hour and I'd get a 30-minute break. On one of those breaks, I was scrolling on YouTube, just scrolling, looking for a video to watch. I'm just trying to, get through the day and get my paycheck. And I saw a video, and this video was about day trading. Up to this point, I have never seen a single video. I've not watched any content related to this. The only things I was looking up was video games, baseball, and then just some random funny stuff on there. And I saw this video and I watched it all the way through, 1 hour long. And it had me rethink what I am doing on a daily basis and how that impacts my life. And this sparked a passion in day trading, in the art of growing better. And fast forward a couple years, and as I continued to grow in my faith and read more about the Bible, and I actually ended up recently just finishing the entire text. And as I've continued to think more and more on my life and reflecting on what I believe I should chase with 100% and with no doubt in my body. And as a believer, I don't want to be misaligned and not aligned with God's will. But I truly believed that God put that video on my For You page for a reason. And maybe He did the same for you here. And if I can be the light that guides you to your true purpose and your true life, that would just be amazing. How do you figure out what direction and what steps to take and where to even start? So the first thing I recommend, all right, bro, this fly's pissing me off. Got him. All right, so the first thing I recommend you do, besides just starting to read the Bible, I want you to get a journal. And I'm going to want you to write your thoughts every single morning. What's on your mind and what's going through your head. This will help you be able to organize your thoughts by writing down everything that you're thinking. And then you can physically look at it on a piece of paper from like a third person POV. And you can help analyze and be able to see the good and the wrong that's going on. Be able to figure out what you're good at and what you're flawed, like where you're flawed at. So I've personally been journaling, as you can see, my thoughts every morning. But I've been using this recently as a Bible study. So this is where it gets a little deeper. And this is how you're going to align yourself with God's will for you. So the books I recommend for finding your purpose and how to align yourself with God's will is Psalms, Proverbs, Job, and Ecclesiastes. Proverbs specifically is a guide to how you should live. Okay. So when you're writing in this journal and you're writing down your thoughts, your ideas, and you're analyzing your everyday life, how does it look in comparison to what Proverbs says? How does it look and seem like you are doing in comparison to what Proverbs tells you to do? I want you to highlight the differences in the two. So I'm going to give you some verses on what Proverbs says, and then we're going to do some little explanation here. So Proverbs 21 says, "The plans of the hard worker lead only to plenty, but all rash haste only to poverty." So quick schemes, quick money ideas, all lead to poverty, but consistent hard work leads to plenty. So really building yourself in a discipline is a great way to receive the fruits of your labors. So I can already imagine that you have some passions in your head and you have kind of an idea on what directions you want to go in life. And I want you to continue. This is how I believe it to be, right? So God gives us these ideas in our head and these thoughts that we have. Okay, so let's say you have a passion for baseball. Okay, something simple, passion for baseball. But if you don't give everything you have towards that passion, it doesn't necessarily, like, if you didn't give it your all and you don't make it, that could have still been God's will for you to make it to baseball. But you, along the line, at some point chose to go away from His track. He wanted you to go to baseball, but you aren't giving it enough, and we're getting distracted by other things, causing you to separate yourself from God's will. That's how I see it. And I also see it as this: even if it's the smallest, slight little thought in your brain, but you know it's something good, as long as it's not evil, if it's something good and something that's beneficial, not only to you, but to others, and you truly go at it 100%, like, I went after it 100%, you can tell yourself that, and you don't make it, then it probably wasn't God's purpose for you. But that's not a bad thing. I believe he still wants you to go after that so he could show you something else, so he can bring you to this. That was part of his plan, but sometimes it's not a straight road, it's curvy. It's not always perfect. There's going to be bumps, imperfections, missing roads. You're going to have to get out of the car and hike sometimes. It's going to be rough. It's not always easy. You're not on a highway on cozy pavement in the backseat getting driven by a limo driver. Okay? It's not that simple. Okay? Nothing is simple. Okay? It's simple to understand, but it's hard to implement. So, yeah, and then Proverbs 21:17 in that same chapter says, "He who loves pleasure is a poor man. He who loves wine and oil does not become rich." So, those distractions can be related to your pleasures. Pleasures are things that you crave more than God. Because if you truly crave God 100%, those pleasures will not attract you more than what God does. You would hold God higher, so these pleasures would fail to attract you because your sights are on God. So then in turn, you would stay on his path and achieve the success you're wanting to achieve. And then it also says here, "The desire of the lazy man slays him, for his hands refuse to work." So that desire, that thought, that idea that you have in your head is going to just eat at you for the rest of your life if you do not take action. Okay? He wants you to put in work. There's a reason we're on this earth. It's a test. My friend made an analogy which has stuck with me for the longest time, and I've heard other people make this analogy the same well. So imagine a rope that extends infinitely from this direction to this direction, just keeps going. And this little section of that rope is our life. This tiny little part right here. And depending how we live this part of the life, we get the rest of the rope, which is infinitely long. So unimaginably long. You can't even fathom how long that is. But this little part of the rope dictates whether you get the rest of it. So why are you still allowing fear to stop you from chasing God's true purpose for you? You must take every step with confidence in him, not of your own ability, but of his ability to guide you. But he can't guide you if you don't take a step. He can't guide you if you don't follow him. He can't rescue you if you don't allow him, if you don't take his hand. God does not force you. He waits for you. And he's waiting for you today to make the decision to follow him. We got some more in here that are even crazier. Here's one about wisdom and applying it to your life, and just a great way to live. "Incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your heart to my knowledge. For they are pleasant. If you guard them within you, let all of them be ready on your lips, that your trust might be in Yahweh." So you need to set him on your heart and hold him at the center of everything you do. Everything you do in life needs to be revolved around him. You need to have him at the center. And if you keep him at the center, there's no way you fall off the tracks. If you continue to follow him, there's no way you fall off the tracks. So how I have put this in my mind is when I am working and I am trying my absolute hardest, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for him. All my labors, all my struggles, all my restless hours, every day that I wake up at 5 a.m., every day that I go work out and train harder than before, every day I've been starving myself to lose weight, every day I've been giving it more and more for these videos and this content, giving up more time, making 5 to 10 TikToks a day, pushing myself more and more to put out more content, pushing myself more and more to just better myself as a person, pushing myself to get better at talking to a camera, pushing myself to get better at day trading, focusing on my rules and not going back on my word, and trying to be more disciplined, not only in those things, but every single thing I do in life is all for Him. And if you give yourself to Him and fully give up your life for Him and realize, hey, I am not doing this for myself, I am doing this to please Him. That is the greatest relief you can ever get. Because if you go 100% and you trust in Him, there is no way you fail. It might not be the finish line you thought you were going to get. It might not be the thing you thought you were going to get, but He knows what you truly need. He has your true reward that's infinite, beyond measure. But you have to let Him in. He's knocking at your door, waiting for you to answer. Patiently, lovingly. He just wants you to accept Him, to bring Him into your life, and to give Him a chance to change you. And I ask that you take that chance now, that you bet everything on Him, because He is the truth, the way, and the light. So follow the light and be the light in everything you do. Be the light to others. Guide others. Discipline yourself in His word. So to further your discipline and to become closer to your true self, your successful version that He has created for you, you must read Proverbs. You must journal daily to help your mind connect with your body, to help your psychology be so on Him that your body just does, because that's all it knows. All you know is, I'm going to follow what I say. All you know is, I'm going to be disciplined in my works. All you know is, I'm going to work as hard as I can. And so you will. If you become that identity of yourself that's successful through Him, you will follow everything He says. And that has been the biggest change in my life over these past 3 weeks, is I've fully told myself, let's commit, let's go all in. And I'm going to see where this takes me. And if y'all want to follow and see along this journey that I'm going to continue on, I really appreciate it if you made it this far in the video. Most people don't. I only average like 30 views on my YouTubes right now, which is fine. That's okay. I'm going to keep pushing these out. And I just know that if it's in God's will and I put my absolute all into it, there's no way I fail. Whether it is I actually make it in YouTube, or I figure out something else, or just something happens because of this content creation I'm making. So chase your passions, chase your dreams, and allow God to help you along with the process.